Yeah, I know. Yeah, she's asking me, when are we? Full house. Are we ready, guys?
How's it going? Yeah, just working. Yeah, same. Always. I'll hang out back here with you. All right.
So we're going to start with some announcements. I want to thank Bob Romero, our incumbent commissioner, and Marietta Fambro, who was a council member. And I just want to go over a few things first. Okay, so I spoke to Lupe Martinez, and I've mentioned before to you guys that the intersection at Salazar and Ranchitos, right where Main Street put that beautiful new welcome to our historic district sign, we'll go by there and look at the landscape. So I spoke to Lupe and said this is not a way to invite people into our town. So she's given permission to fix it up. And we need, yeah, that's the good news. The bad news is we need help. So I'm going to ask the Lions Club, but make sure you guys go by the area and just take a look at it. I had pictures last week, I don't have them this week. But that's good news that we can make something beautiful out of it. So the first plan on that is to clean it up. And the second plan is to then see if they'll give us some funding to fix it. Hopefully we'll build one of our benches that we're going to do this summer for our beautification project. Hopefully we'll do that there, but we just want to make it kind of inviting. So if somebody's walking by, they can sit down and it'll be a beautiful area instead of what it looks like now. Also, if you don't know about the film festival starts this weekend. Yeah, tomorrow. Oh, that is this weekend. Okay, so film festival starts tomorrow. And you can pick up one of these programs in the front. We have them. But please, you guys, check it out. We have some pretty cool movies that are going to be shown this weekend. And also, I talked to Dustin Sweet, if some of you know him. He's a filmmaker. And they're going to be showing movies at the Rock House property, which is behind the Rock House, across from the Taos Inn, in that parking lot back there. On the wall, on the screen on the wall, they're going to screen one of these movies. And that's going to happen Friday or Saturday. I'll make sure to post it on the Facebook page. But that'll be fun, an outdoor movie. What else? Oh, Meet Me at McCarthy. Not Meet Me at McCarthy starts May 11th.
May 11th, yes.
And go ahead, Arsenio.
Oh, and season 2, and we have some really neat incentives for people that come and participate, and we have a bunch of surprises lined up for our participants as well. So it happens every Monday evening at 5 o'clock.
Rain or shine.
Rain or shine. You don't have to walk. You don't have to jog. You don't have to run. You don't have to do anything. If you just want to come and hang out, in beautiful downtown McCarthy Plaza and enjoy the evenings, and that's what we're all about. So, May 11th.
May 11th, the stars again. You guys make sure you show up because last summer it rained almost every Monday. And since it's rain or shine anyway, you don't have to walk, you don't have to run, you can just sit down and talk. It's a really good gathering. The last night we had over 7 people.
Yeah.
There, so it's a fun time. We're also starting a music series on McCarthy Plaza, starting the weekend, Memorial Day weekend. And it's going to be 2 nights a week, free music. Brad is putting this together, and he started the Thursday night live, or Thursday night, what's it called? Taos Plaza Live, yeah. And also the Solar Fest, so he knows how to do the stuff.
It's actually going to be night and afternoon. It's Friday evenings 4 to 7, and Sunday afternoons 1 until 4. The Taos Automobile Club is doing their thing on the plaza. So people go down and see the old cars, hear music, oh, what's that? And hang out. The whole idea is to bring life back to the plaza where the community can gather.
And we're also working
For
on...
18 weeks until mid-September.
Thank you. And we're also working on other activities. We're going to have an elder group that meets there. We're going to play bingo. We just did a hopscotch thing. So we're going to get this plaza going, you guys, even with construction. Okay. So now I want to introduce Arsenio Trujillo. And Arsenio has graciously put up our sound system, and he's also our moderator for this evening. Thank you, Arsenio. Arsenio? Yeah. Oh.
I need questions.
Oh, questions. So let's start with the introduction, opening and
All right. Can everybody hear me okay? Too loud? Not loud enough? You okay? All right. So I'll be moderating this evening and mostly just handling questions. There will be some opportunities for folks to ask questions from the audience, and if you need the mic, I can walk it up to you and you can ask your question to our candidates. But we do want to introduce Ms. Marietta Fambro, who's here. She's challenging incumbent Mr. Bob Romero. So nice round of applause for our candidates here. And before we get started with questions, I'm going to give them a chance to do some opening remarks, and then we'll get the show started. So if you guys don't mind sharing the mic like we did the last time.
Other candidates? No, other.
We'll let Marietta.
Right, okay.
Go first.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay, I'm Marietta Fambro. I think I know a lot of you know me here, so I won't go too much into it, but president for 64 years. I was a town employee for 24 and a half years, finance director for the town mainly for 19 of those years. I thought they were raising your hand for me. 4 years, 3 3/4 year for town council. I served. I for mayor and was unsuccessful against Dan Baroni. And so this came up. There's been a lot of talk and conversation on the E911 fire excise tax. And that's really the only reason, not the only reason, but the main reason that I put my name into the race. Because I think that constituents have talked to the commissioners and gotten some of the responses that they felt they needed. And I just want to be part of that and try to help out. It's not about the town of Taos. It's not about Taos County. It's about you. It's about me. It's about the constituents that have these services provided to them. And not only that, it's accountability and transparency, not saying that the county is doing anything wrong, but I have that experience to at least look into it and make recommendations or figure it out. So that's really my main reason. The county's doing a good job on a lot of things that they do, but the county is like the big brother, the town is the little brother. work together somehow, some way better. We do work together in a lot of ways, but the bigger picture, when it comes into the financing and the big picture of money, I think we could do better. So that's why I'm running, and that's who I am. And that's all I have to say right now. I'll have a lot later. Mr. Romero.
Thank you all for being here. I want to thank you because it's really important for everyone to be active, to get out, get informed, and to vote. But I am running for re-election to the Taos County Commission because the current county commission has an excellent record of accomplishments. For the past 3.5 years, the things have been getting done or are getting done. And so I'd be glad to elaborate on those accomplishments as we move along here this evening. But first, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a native-born Taoseño, 9th generation New Mexican. My great-great-great-great-grandfather on the Spanish paternal side came in with the Vargas in 1693. I am a retired educator. I am a historian. I have been married for 43 years to Alice, who is sitting right up here. We have 3 children, 2 daughters and 1 son. We have 3 grandchildren, 2 grandsons and 1 granddaughter. I have an extensive and broad background and experience in local government. I actually worked for 40 years in education, and education, of course, is also a government function. But I worked for like 8 years teaching at a community college in Grand Junction, Colorado. Here in Taos, I was the director for the Taos Education Center that was managed by Northern New Mexico Community College at that time, before UNM Taos came in 1993. I actually was on the school board at that time, which also was the off-campus board, the advisory board to the higher education program, when we took a vote in 1993 to make UNM Taos the parent institution. After that, I taught classes for UNM Taos, classes in history of New Mexico, history of Taos, state and local government, and such. So I have an extensive background in there, but it was an adjunct basis that I was teaching these classes. That means I was doing it part-time, so I had other jobs. I actually worked for the town of Taos for 1 year right after UNM came in as a housing planner for Mayor Peralta and Gus Cordova as town manager when they started the affordable housing program at Chamisa Verde. And then I also worked for the school district in administration, grants administration, and director of human resources. And during this time, I was also doing concurrent sideline government type of experience with El Valle de los Ranchos Water and Sanitation District. We actually brought that out of dormancy in the late 1990s, and we built over 30 miles of sewer line from 2000 to 2020 when I got off the board. Built over 12 miles of water line. So this is important water infrastructure. It was not just for the infrastructure itself, but also for maintaining or ensuring that our aquifers they're not contaminated. They're free from the septic tanks. And also I served 4 years on the school board. During that time, we built Royalsdale Norte Elementary School. We also built the cafeteria and the library at the high school, added additional classrooms at Ronsos Elementary and Taos Middle School. So a lot of experience in building facilities and infrastructure. I have been a parchante on my acequia Los Cordos #1. Acequias are also another form of government in New Mexico. In fact, they're the oldest form of government in the entire country. I am currently the secretary on that acequia commission. So in a nutshell, that's my background, and I'd be more than glad to discuss more about the accomplishments of the county commission for the last 3.5 years, and to answer any questions that you might have. So thank you for being here again.
And I didn't forget to thank you for being here as well. Obviously, we appreciate you coming in and participating in this act of civic participation. For those of you that may not know or may not be actual constituents of Marietta, can you please explain what area of Taos County this particular seat represents? And also, just want to let you know, this is the only contested commissioner seat that we have this time around.
Thank you, Arsenio. Gosh, it seems like I can't. Hopefully you can hear me. So, District 1 encompasses, it's a very, I've been studying the map. It is on the Taos County website. It starts from 68 and it goes west. And I live in the district on Santisteban right after Salazar Road, so that's why I'm eligible to run against Mr. Romero. It goes west, it goes down to Camino Medio, to the west side of Camino Medio, down to Holder Road, up to Cuchilla. I'm like making this little thing, this little area. Then it goes not in the golf course area, but it goes on the outside of the golf course. It comes down Los Cordovas, all of Los Cordovas area, Tusas, all that area. Then it follows 240 to Blueberry Hill Road, but it doesn't encompass the internal part of Millicent Rogers area, but it goes to the downside of Lower Colonias, up to all of Straight Arrow Road, all of Tortuga, Santisteban, not my Santisteban, but the other Santisteban close to the airport. Comes around the El Prado area, not El Prado, it stops at Upper Ranchitos, where the river crosses right by the gas station. That's the outline that I've been looking at and trying to really identify it. So I live in town limits. This district is very important to me because we provide, the area that is in here is the town of Taos, part of the town of Taos, but it's the taxing district. It's the majority of the people that have houses in this district, the big infrastructure, the Walmarts, the big buildings. And so it's a very important district. And I'm not saying that the outlying people that live outside of the proper are not important, but it's just a very large, it encompasses a lot. So was that the only question you asked me?
No, that was just off the cuff.
Okay, and it is important just because people need to go look at the map on the county's website.
That's correct. And like I said, there may be some folks that might not live within that district, but that's fine. We're so glad that everybody's here. So the way it's going to work tonight is that I've got a series of questions. For information, there's 7 questions in total. And while you have the mic, I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to ask you a follow-up question, so don't hand over the mic as soon as you're done. Okay, but we'll try to keep this, kind of sharp, so maybe limit your question and your answers to a reasonable amount of time. I won't cut anybody off, I promise.
Okay.
Okay, so resource allocation is the first question, fire versus EMS. Mrs. Fambro, what data will you use to determine funding priorities between fire services and EMS?
Well, I know the county has the E91 dispatch center and they have the calls there. To tell you the truth, I sat into a county commission meeting and the report that I saw them do, I could not identify that data. So I think open and transparent data coming out of the E91 system, I'd look into it to understand and make sure I understand who's getting a fire call, who's getting an EMS call, because like I said, this is the main reason why I'm here, to just try to help out our constituents. I'm just going to say real quick, fire, this is a lot of money. We're looking at E91 at 3.1 million and 3.1, I'm estimating 3.1 million on the fire excise tax. So these calls, I would say I know they're coming from E911, but that's also a discussion that needs to be happening because the county is wanting to pull out of that joint powers agreement. And so I just feel it's not about the town and the county, but it is. It is about the data that comes from each side. And I think there just needs to be a more open, transparent reading of that data.
Thank you. The follow-up question is, will you commit to a public audit comparing call volume to funding allocation?
Sure. I mean, this is not the county's money. This is not the town's money. This is the constituents' money. This is the tax that we pay. So, hey, I do it for free. I was a, finance department. We do our own auditing. So don't pay somebody. I'm not elected. They can just tell me and I'll go help them. But no, I definitely, I just want to hear the whole, I want to see it. I want to see the numbers in a reality form, and the data is there. It's there. It's there. It's just how is it being presented?
Very good, thank you.
Give up my mic.
Mr. Romero, same question. What data will you use to determine funding priorities between fire services and EMS?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question because probably is at the very core of the issue, actually, because the data that we're getting from dispatch, the report we just got, is that the majority of the calls for fire protection are in the county. And super majority are not, are outside of the town of Taos. Even though we have a population concentration here, the data seems to indicate that most of the fire calls are from outside the municipalities.
Very good, and once again, will you commit to a public audit comparing the call volume to the funding allocation?
I think the funding has to be based on what the volume is. And sure, we've had, when the GRT was put in place in 2022, and then the funds started coming in 2023, then dispersed in 24 and 25, projections were made as to how much each municipality and each fire department should get. And as it turned out, once they took a closer look at the numbers, the finance department and county manager determined that they needed to recalculate and readjust, which is it's a normal process of the budget. If you have an account within the budget and it's in deficits, you've got to pause, and that's what the commission did when the management and finance department came to the commission, and actually there was no stoppage of the disbursements. They were monthly disbursements and they were never stopped. Just from the time that it was paused to reevaluate, and then it was reinstated in February with the new adjustments.
Thank you. Go ahead and keep the microphone, Mr. Romero, please. Thank you, both of you, for your answers. Question number 2, EMS workforce support is the topic here, and the question is, EMS providers are required to maintain licenses. Does the county provide funding for employees to maintain their licenses and mandatory continuing education?
Yes, I mean, they have to be certified, and they have to be trained and be able to do the job when they're called upon by the public. And so they do have to be certified, and there are provisions to ensure that they get the proper training and proper certification.
In this next budget cycle, will you commit funding for EMS continuing education?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
All right. Same question about the licenses. Does the county provide funding for employees, or should they provide funding for employees to maintain their licenses and mandatory continuing education?
I would suppose they will provide it. I haven't been able to see a budget yet. Obviously, I'm not part of that process, and that's another thing about open and transparent government is that, those budgets should be online. I did see their third quarter report, but unless you're really in the detail, you can't really see that. So yes, the certifications, my understanding is always that Taos County has always provided EMS service. The town of Taos has always provided fire service. And so this fire excise tax and EMS tax together, I understand what Commissioner Romero said about the funding never stopped, but I've never seen a strategic plan for fire, and it's turned into, I feel, more fire than EMS. And I mean, I've had a son that couldn't get transported, so how many EMS people do we have? If this funding was for that, then why is not half of that to EMS and half to fire? Because Taos Fire has the apparatus, they have the building, they have everything. If it's personalities and stuff, the leadership, this is what really bothered me, was the leadership at the county, and that means leadership commissioner, leadership manager, had this repealing of this tax under a finance department. If you knew that the money wasn't gonna be there when you passed this tax, why didn't we have a plan? Why didn't we all have a plan? The town and the county, why didn't we have a plan to use this fire money correctly and right? You know, if I haven't, somebody falls down right here, who's gonna come get me? Fire or ambulance? I would hope ambulance could get me. If my building is burning, my home is burning, I don't want an emergency, I don't want ambulance over there. Obviously, I want for protection after, but I want Taos Fire. Because I don't know if the Taos County has even a fire apparatus truck to go to a fire. So it's a bigger picture, and the constituents probably don't understand it. And the leadership, whoever the leadership is going to be, needs to be more involved and understanding. I'm just going to throw numbers out there, and I know you can just shut me up because I could go forever. I was just looking at their quarterly report, and even fire protection has a balance of $7.6 million. I understand that's all your Taos County volunteer fire departments. Fire excise tax has a balance of $1.3 million right now. E91 services has a balance of $4.6 million. What are we doing with our taxpayers' money? What are we doing? How can we do better? How can we do better together? I'm now going to be the they, the county, them, the town. I'm sorry, I had to work for the town. I appreciate everything, but I'm part of this community. Sorry.
It's okay. Well, the original question was about continuing education for our, our brave workers. But
Yes and yes.
Will you commit funding for EMS, the continuing education, and in your first budget if you're elected?
Yes, for sure. And more so what I know, how many EMS guys there are, how many more they may need, who has certifications. I don't know any of that information, but that would be interesting to know. How many EMS guys do we have? Are these fire EMS guys all EMS guys, or I don't know. I just could hopefully find out if I win, because don't have to do a bunch of public records requests and pay a lot of money. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Hang on to the mic. Now that you bring it up with the transparency and the IPRA process, what will you do to ensure timely compliance with public records requests?
I know we have other elected official positions, and the Taos County Clerk's office is that, but all these records come from different departments. So I think on the portal, they do have information, but for some reason, I think like the budget information should not even be something that you have to request. It should be open and just put on. Learn from people that do things. The town does wonderful. They show the GRT rates for everybody. They put their budgets up there. They put every financial document. It's hard to go look if you don't know where to find. Same with the audit. And so I would just work with the clerk's office and the departments and the manager to say, how can we improve this? If it's going to be online, make it easier. If it's the cost, it's ridiculous to have to pay so much. I understand it's taxing though on the employees. So how can we do better to get that information out to the public without having to pay too much money?
Very good. And this is a yes or no question, but should there be consequences for missing legal deadlines?
By law, there is consequences. So yes.
Pass the mic to Mr. Romero.
You should have bought him his own, Chris. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Maybe the county can buy us a set microphone as part of that today. Mr. Romero, what will you do to ensure timely compliance with public records requests?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, actually, most government entities are overwhelmed by requests for public records. Yeah, we just hired an individual last year to address that issue alone. And so it's working pretty well. I mean, we're still getting a lot of public requests for records, but for the most part, we're responding very well. But I'd like to address a couple other issues that were just brought up. On the issue of whether or not the county is equipped to provide fire protection and address EMS, absolutely. We have young fire marshal and chief that are visionary, and they are building the capacity of the county to respond to fire protection needs and for EMS needs. On the issue of transparency, the county has been totally transparent in this whole issue, in that it's doing what government has to do. When an issue comes up, you pause, you address it, you reevaluate it, and you make adjustments that need to be made. The finance department and county management met with each one of the entities, the different municipalities, Cuesta, Ski Valley, town of Taos, and spelled out exactly what was happening. So there was total transparency, and there was an issue of fiscal responsibility. The county commission has the responsibility for oversight and accountability, but it's the actual staff and management that is actually doing the work and making the decisions at their level. So county commissioners just have to do what they have to do in the position that they're at. We have to understand the different roles that staff, management, and elected officials have.
Hang on to the mic, and the follow-up question is, should there be consequences for missing legal deadlines? Yes or no?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if it's part of an ordinance or regulation or law, we have to follow the law. Absolutely.
I'll go ahead and hang on to the mic. I'll get the first question to you, Mr. Romero. This is regarding the use of public funds. Here. Question is, do you consider it misuse of taxpayer funds if county resources are used while earning outside compensation? Do you understand the premise of the question?
Earning outside compensation, maybe elaborate a little bit more.
Do you consider, so maybe you have an employee that's earning outside the money from outside of their regular job.
Oh yeah, that would be a conflict of interest if they're making money on outside while being employed with the county or the town or a government entity. That could be a concern for sure.
And the follow-up question is, will you support an independent investigation into credible allegations?
Yeah, well, it's hypothetical. We're not aware of anything like that, but sure, if there were allegations, an investigation should obviously be conducted and the facts determined. Yes.
Thank you very much. Same question, Ms. Fambro, do you consider it misuse of taxpayer funds if county resources are used while earning outside compensation?
Of course, it's not acceptable, it's not appropriate, and yeah, no, you just cannot do that. And I don't care what department it could be, I don't care where it is, it's not permissible. But it's hard to identify, but it will be easy if there is something there.
So will you support an independent investigation into credible allegations?
For sure. I mean, this is taxpayers' money, and the thing is, it is out there. There's obviously been, that's the only reason I'm running too, is because the commissioners, I think 3 out of the 5, have been addressed with this EMS fire tax, this misuse of funds, but I think the comment was, you go show me where it is and then come back and I'll deal with it. So that's not how we deal with it. We've got to, now it's turned into, it may go into that.
Thank you very much. You just hang on to the mic. Moving on to question number 5, which is about leadership accountability. Mrs. Fambro, how will you hold command staff accountable to the same standards as frontline personnel?
Command staff, like command, like
I'm thinking upper management.
upper management and command staff. I'm looking at the sheriff back there. He scares me. He's a command staff. I'm just kidding, Sheriff. It starts from the top. So if whatever chain of command you use, if it's the manager, then the commission needs to take care of whatever the manager may not be doing. And I disagree, and I'm gonna throw this in really quick, with Commissioner, Romero. The day that meeting happened, that the repeal of that tax was gonna happen, I called, Mayor-elect Baroni, I called Mayor Ortega. They did not know. They did not know. So I don't know who's telling the commissioners that everything was taken care of, because it was not taken care of. So back to, that's the leadership. That's the leadership of the manager. The manager should have been presenting that. It was under the finance director. Yeah, everybody says finance and they get scared. So they better get scared. But you need that leadership at the top to deal with those type of things. Same with the next in charge. Your manager is in charge to take care of that next command person. Whoever the chain of command falls in the county. But the commissioners have overruling of the contract on the manager. So I follow chain of command and do something. If somebody's doing wrong, follow through, document the paperwork, you know, whatever it may be. So that's like, you gotta follow it. I don't care who you are. If it's a commissioner, I'm not saying you, I'm sorry, you're a commissioner right here and I just have to keep pointing to him, but you know, if a commissioner, we've had in the past, takes gravel, you can't do that. You can't take gravel from county yards. You can't do that. That's old days, what happened, but it still happens in the new day.
I think you might have answered the question already, but the specific actions that you would take if a senior official violated policy.
Oh, yes, that's what I would do.
Okay, so.
Make them accountable. Take them to the level of, the steps that they have to take.
Thank you so much.
Take it. There you go, sir.
Commissioner Romero, same question. How will you hold command staff accountable to the same standards as frontline personnel?
Oh, absolutely. If there's any evidence of any misconduct, misuse of funds or anything like that, whether it's upper management, staff level, whatever, people have to be held accountable. Fortunately, we've not had anything like that at Taos County. Certainly since I've been on the county commission. And even there is history with the Taos County, what Marietta mentioned about gravel or whatever, 25, 30 years ago. Things have changed dramatically in Taos County since then. And at this time, we have no evidence.
If it did, we certainly would address it. Okay, that was going to be the follow-up question. It should be addressed.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, Commissioner Romero, hang on to the mic. Question number 6 is on the record positions. Do you believe EMS is currently being prioritized appropriately based on call volume and demand?
I think it needs to be looked at. I mean,
This whole issue has come up just in the last 6 months, 7, 8 months. Is an issue. It's an important issue, and we have to look at how fire protection is being conducted, and if there's a need to beef up EMS services, I'd certainly be in favor of that. But the county is totally committed to ensuring that we have fire protection around the county. We have equity and funding for both EMS and fire.
As a commissioner, as a returning commissioner, what would you change first?
I think I would begin some discussions about management and say what's happening at the EMS and fire. I'm pretty confident with the young individuals that we have there that they are hardworking, very visionary. I'm not as totally familiar with the EMS. I'd like to learn more about what is happening there, and so I'd ask some questions. Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Romero.
Go ahead and ask the mic.
So same question, Mrs. Fambro, do you believe EMS is currently being prioritized appropriately based on call volume and demand? Do you have any data that you've come across?
With the data that I've seen is very confusing. And so if I get elected, definitely would come back to the table and look at both leaderships and see what it is. In my thought, I would say half of this tax should be EMS, half should be fire. And I think Commissioner Romero is comfortable with fire, where I'm not comfortable with either, because we have duplicate of services. I don't know how many fires has Taos County put out in the town proper. Well, fire district is 61% of probably why I lost for mayor, because I said it was 70, I was overflating it, but it's 61% of the area and the structures, the population and the structures. That's what Taos Fire fights. Now, what does Taos County fight? They do the outlying volunteers, Amalia, Costilla, right, sir? So does Taos County Fire fight a fire in the 60% of the proper? Well, I'm asking the question. Do you know that?
Yeah, well, it's based on the data, latest data we have, is the biggest number, the largest majority of the calls are from outside the municipalities. So it can't be based on half and half. It has to be based on what the data shows on where the calls are being made. Well,
and for me, I guess being in the leadership role of a commissioner, I would ask more questions. I would be more I'd try to ask the questions and get the answers when I felt comfortable. Okay, I agree with that. I agree that EMS is short up. They go to, they have all these calls, fire, county calls. I mean, how do we dispatch them? Because I know Taos County has control of E911 services. And that's another thing they want. They've already said they're gonna pull out of the joint powers agreement and take it on their own. But legally, I don't think that's an option, but that's not me. I'm not a lawyer, but that's not gonna help the community. And they say they're gonna provide the same service that is being provided right now. I don't know that, but there's a lot that needs to be asked about both situations. So.
Thank you. So what I'm gonna do real quick before we have, and then you can do some closing statements, so both of you will get a chance to do that. I'm gonna ask, is there anybody that has a question in the audience? I'll bring the mic right to you.
Question for Marietta. Right now, the plaza is torn up. A couple of years ago, it was torn up, they fixed it, leveled it, tore it up again. It's hurting tourism. My take as a tour operator has been, why do you have to do it now? They keep saying, well, it has to be done eventually. My take would be wait till after Labor Day or some other time when it's less busy. Would you prioritize or see the importance of tourism when these things come up? When they begin to do reconstruction, destruction and reconstruction? Do you see the needs of tourism being hurt there? Could you maybe ask them to hold off?
Taos Plaza, that is definitely a tourist detriment to us when it happens that way. I don't know why now this side, it may be because the funding was available and it had to be spent. I don't know. On the commission side, they probably know that. Definitely wait for the off season. With the tourism now, with the ski valley and the no snow, we need to find some kind of more different types of things to do to keep that tourism dollar coming in. So definitely the plaza is a iffy one. Yeah, it's construction during a good season. I'm sure that's what the part of it is. The communication, I respect Taos Main Street, and I just point to this side because they've been sending out, I follow them and they have the updates, but that doesn't help the tourism dollars coming in, and I saw that. So I would support trying to do a better schedule, not in the middle of your busy season.
Quick follow-up, Bob. When is the courthouse going to be finished?
Hey, it's going to be finished this summer, Sam. Yeah, I like your question because actually the Taos Plaza and Historic Courthouse is one of those accomplishments I'm talking about. And Central Plaza, of course, we had that clarification that happened in 2023 on who owned the plaza. And a lot of people knew for a long time. I had a former commissioner tell me 10 years ago that he had seen a deed, a document showing that the county owned not only the historic courthouse, but also the plaza. So once that was clarified, we did have discussions. We've had discussions with the town on a regular basis. We had joint meetings, and the Main Street had received $1 million to renovate that central plaza, but the fiscal agent was the town. But it was quickly decided to transfer that money to the the county because it was owned by the county, and the intent of the grant was to renovate the plaza. The design was done. We kept the same architect that the town had on the central plaza. It was done last spring, and last summer they went in and redid the gazebo and got it all in order. They actually had a projected timetable of completion, which I'm always asking about the contractors or staff, whoever, and they finished it by Halloween. And remember, we had that big turnout for Halloween, and that was great. We didn't go into the second phase, which is happening now. And it's under construction. Construction is what it is. There's construction, whether it's about tourism or whatever. Of course, we all support tourism because that's our economic base. But it is now scheduled to be done by June 30th, and it will be done because we have a good contractor. After we had the design in place, we got a good contractor that got in there and is in there now. And so once we are finished, it'll be like the main road going down the middle of the community. We were all upset that we had to wait so long for it to be completed, but once it's completed, it's great. And that'll be the situation on the plaza. It'll be the hub. It's going to become a lively place, vibrant place for not only visitors to the community, but to locals also.
Is there yet another phase? You said phase?
No, this is the last phase on the central plaza itself.
This is actually phase 3. Phase 2 was the gazebo.
Yeah.
Archie.
I guess my question is, I think I'm on.
No.
Why is it going to take to the end of June? Why is it taking so long to do an area that should be done, I would say, with the right people in a month? I don't understand this. Half the time, nobody's even out there. That's my question. You see like Soccer Park or something like that, those things are done very quickly, and they're 3 times the size. Why is it the end of June?
The simple answer is construction. Anytime you do construction, whether you're putting in water and sewer lines, there are so many unknowns, contingencies, especially on a historical building like the courthouse. Contractors will always tell you they prefer to just build something brand new from the ground up and not deal with renovations. But it's a historical building that we're not only restoring, but we're preserving the historical structure. And so, construction is the issue. We like to have it happen faster. And it does happen faster a lot of times in the private sector because they don't have to deal with design and engineering and all this. And even funding. Funding is always an issue, and it has to be secured in order for a project to move forward. But it's the simple answer is construction.
I follow up on that just because I'm there down in Plaza every day. And April and May is the best time to do this than November and December. I mean, it's really the only opportunity they have. And I know it sucks, but as soon as it's done, like you say, it's going to be fabulous. We're going to have a plaza where we can gather again like we did in the good old days. So they're there. I watch them like a hawk, and I make sure Dan knows that they're not working that day. She's talking. Yeah, and she's talking. So we're all that are there every day. So I don't think it's going to. I wouldn't be surprised if they finish it by the morning. Just saying, I don't know where it takes so long. My son did the engineering for it. That's just a lot of silver.
Thank you so much. Real quick, Judge, you had a question?
I was going to ask, the question that arises periodically is that maybe the commission has extended a little too much administrative nature, and would you consider some form of review to be able to correspond better to the public's needs? Because I don't think that the governing body is aware of a lot of things that take place within the administrative office of the town manager. Anyway, for both.
For both, I'll take that as much as I can expand on it. Unlike the commission, there's 5 different districts, and I don't know internally how it's worked with the manager to one commissioner says, I want this, one commissioner, it should be some kind of better form to say collectively, the manager should work for all of them in the bigger picture of things, like what we're talking about, these E911, the fire excise, the fire protection stuff. And then everybody else in their districts do have other projects, so I really think that there should be some kind of, communication different that the manager expresses, and maybe he does. I saw a couple of reports on the commission meetings, just simple things to say, and then we have 2 deputy managers, correct, sir? And so we have 2 assistant managers, and I don't know how that relates, but if all 3 of these managers are going to one meeting, that's a waste of taxpayer monies. If this guy's in charge of operations, this one's in charge of admin, and the chief guy, I'm not the chief, but the head, the manager, I don't know what the structure is. So I would really want to focus on understanding what the structure is and change it to make sure that everybody is aware of what's going on the commission side.
Thank you, Mr. Romero.
I think I understand your question. Is it, does the county manager have too much power?
Those are the questions that arise every so often. There's three of the individuals that work under the county manager. There's Chris and there's Jason. So if you go to one or the other end, you cannot get to the county manager. I've tried over and over. And not only myself, but there's other individuals throughout the county in the 5 districts. But and then you get one that will respond, and the other 2 that says, well, we'll have to get back to the head person, which would be the county manager officially. And then to be able to get any answers from him, either it's down the road or never. That's the issue.
It is an issue. I think I've been dealing with it since I've been on the commission. But the structure of the county commission counties is that the county manager has a lot of power. That's the way it's structured, because they're on a day-to-day basis, and an experienced county manager, which is what we have now. He has a lot of government experience. He's able to work it where he has a lot of control, and the structure is there for a county manager to have control. That's a kind of response to the way it was in the past. Like 25, 30 years ago, county managers sometimes didn't have very much power, and they couldn't get a lot of things done. So the trick is to get the county management and the commissioners working together, understanding the roles, because we're not there every day, so we don't see everything. But we get reports back regularly as to what's happening. It's mainly from the county manager. But overall, it is difficult for a constituent like yourself to try to get through. We're fortunate that we do have assistant managers, because they are able to deal with individual issues, but usually they do have to also report to the manager. That's what they have to do. And so it's a fine balance of commissioners working together, understanding their roles, and fortunately having managers that have the experience to get the job done on a day-to-day basis. So it's probably a never-ending thing to try to get it right, but we're working on it, and hopefully it gets better. So people get ready.
Thank you both. Hang on, we have a gentleman over here with a question, and then we'll go to the.
My name is Mark Fellow, 11th generation Mexican, born tradition. I like her answers on transparency, but a lot of your answers were based countywide as the whole. District 1 is why we're here. The plaza, tourism within it, and I haven't really heard an answer concerning what changes and benefits will specifically go to County Commission District 1, which the town of Taos sits in and 61% of the population lives in.
Thank you. And real quick, my apologies, I didn't give you a chance to answer the woman's question, but I wanted to address it as well. But that could probably be wrapped up within this question, because you have seen it from both sides, town and county, Mrs. Fambro. So if you want to answer that question first.
Okay, which one was that?
The concerns about this particular district.
right?
And, it looks like tourism was a concern.
It was just overall how, you're both running for District 1. And a lot of some of the answers were more broader, where why the, grocery GRT was taken out and dispersed outside of the district with the largest population. And the people here that are here to listen to why we should choose one over the other, it's not county-wide concerns. I feel like everyone here is more District 1 concerns. What are we doing with our construction? What are we doing with even getting a hold of a county commissioner? Things like that. Are their focuses District 1, not countywide? And my question is, what will you do as the District 1 representative for the district? Not the county whole, but for the people that live here and are voting constituents.
Okay, I got it. In my District 1, and I don't want to be, this is the town of Taos proper, and District 1 is encompassing what I did, my little map, and Taos Fire services of that district and of other districts, 61% of this area. So I understand what you're saying is that, you know, that's why I think I'm fighting to go back, not fighting, I'm wanting to go look back and see what this tax is doing for the county-wide part, because that's why I'm saying, I know, Commissioner, that you say, you know, fire is doing great, but really, what is it doing? We have to come to that conversation, because we have the town district here has Walmart, the district goes to Walmart, so we have, but we still have everything else in the town of Taos limits and everything outside of the town of Taos limits that Taos Fire fights. And the ambulance services is county-wide, including the town. So I think the conversation needs to be had with these officials that, and same with the lodger's tax. I mean, the lodger's tax, everything in this tax base is the Taos, town of Taos proper. That's where all the taxing authority is. Now, the county's bigger tax is the property tax. That's how they run their government. But there's so much GRT taxing authority throughout the whole inside, but who creates it? The municipality. It creates tax for everybody because that's where the businesses are. But everybody from the county comes and shops to us. So of course, there's countywide taxes too. So I think in District 1, what I'm running for is just how is it fair and equal for these services? E911, fire, EMS, even water, recreation stuff. I know the town of Taos provides a lot of the recreation, but the county doesn't really do a lot of recreation because they have their own projects outside. They have to pay for detention, for police, for fire, for law enforcement. Those are big budgets. And so how do we collaborate to at least do some more little recreation parks outside of the town of Taos where in the district? Like somebody asked me in Lower Colonias, you know, they have 5 children and they don't have, there's a park there. And I think they asked the commissioner to help out when he first got elected and nothing has happened. So, but it's a school property. So here he goes with the school. So we all collaboratively with the schools, the county, the town, have to understand who does what, how it can benefit us to bring our resources together. I don't know if that answers your question, but it's, the taxing, the people, the fire, the structures are all within a lot of our District 1.
Yeah, you're right. We do run by district, and so elected, we represent District 1. But once you are elected and you're sitting on the commission, you're looking out for the best interests of the entire county. That's just the nature of it. However, I, as representative of District 1, am very much an advocate for everything going on in District 1, whether it's the completion of the historic courthouse. I attend those contractor meetings, see what the progress is, the status of it is. Same with the plaza. I do like a drive-by going through the plaza regularly, see what the progress is there. The paving of Blueberry Hill Road is in my district. That was a 12 to 15-year project when they first got funded. It finally got done now. I was on that one. We have another road, Tom Holder Road, over in Ranchos, it's just a bottleneck where there's just a lot of construction, a lot of new houses have been built over there, and it just needs to be addressed. And so I'm working on that next. So yeah, these are some of the accomplishments that have been addressed. The detox center, it just opened, and a second phase is still under construction, but it got opened. The sheriff's office, the sheriff is back there ready to move in. The new office, the building was purchased from the old BLM building. It was retrofitted for the sheriff. The sheriff is probably ready to move in by next month, I guess. So the sheriff's department will now have a brand new facility there, and that'd be great. But that was an overall county project. You have to look at the overall needs of the entire county once you're sitting on the county commission.
Thank you, and I have a question here. We'll do one question again, and we'll wrap up the final question here.
Hi there. I know you both. So I see you putting yourself out there on the front line. Thank you for doing this. It is a thankless job. I don't know if either of you remember, I was county attorney in, I think, I've been here 30 years, and I think it was 99, 2000, but it might have been 2000 to 2001. And I was only part-time at the time. But it was a year of herding cats. Things are much better run now. I will tell you the county has improved 1,000,000%. I won't mention any of the names that was on the council, but it was nuts. And so my question is, I don't know if this has changed, but what I remember as county attorney is that the town's budget was so much larger than the county. And the county had to provide district court, magistrate court, the county clerk, the county treasurer, the county assessor, the sheriff's department. They didn't pay the district judge, but they pretty much paid everybody else that made the county work. And the town collected a huge percentage of the gross receipts tax. And of course, they also got some of the property tax. The county at that time, I believe, was funded almost 100% by property tax. And I don't know if that's still the situation. I would like to know what the budget is for the county now. And Marietta, I don't know if you know what the budget is for the town at this point, or when you left office, perhaps. I would just like to have a comparison of those two budgets for the benefit of everyone. And one more point, yes, the commission represents everybody in the county. And I believe the split of population is around 5,500 in the town limits and like 18,500 outside of the town limits to the, what we would call the greater Taos area, El Prado, Seco, Salto, the close things. And then there's the far outlying area of, Cuesta, which has its own government, Amalia, what's south of here. So like what used to be the Mesa Vista School District, all the way to Ojo Caliente. So the county represents the great majority of people in this county, and the town collects most of the money. So I just would love to know those two figures.
The town budget, of course, is greatly dependent on gross receipts tax, and the county is still very much dependent on property taxes. Now 70% of the county budget is from property taxes. But operational budget for the county now is 16 million, but it's also a fiscal agent for other entities, and I mean, like the water sanitation districts get funded through ad valorem tax, and it goes up to about 25 million with all the revenues received. We just had a third quarter financial report just presented on meeting on Tuesday, so this information is fresh. But maybe Marietta can give us more information on the town budget.
I've been absent from the town for several months. No, the town, so general fund for them is whatever Commissioner Romero said. The town's last one that I remember is, general fund is 18 million. And you're correct, Mary Lane. And it's the district, it's how the tax structure works. County is property tax is how they pay for their general operations. And of that, I think the expenditures, I did look at the report really quick. $3.5 million of that goes to the sheriff's office. Because I saw the bar graph, and that's like the biggest thing. So public safety is the biggest tax revenue sucking it up, which is okay. That's what it is. Those public services are not money makers. This is not a business. But so that's the biggest tax. The GRT, the town of Taos, that's what their revenue is. So that's how they run their operating personnel. And it's all about people and equipment and supplies. So we both run the same thing. You know, this thing together. Some people like to go to the county. I've seen people work at the county, then they'll go to the town, then they go back to the county. You know, it works like that. And the sheriff's department, police, dispatch, you know, people are trying to find their niche of where they are. But on the taxing side, this big brother of the county, they have the bigger taxing authority. So just because the town of Taos collects tax for them to run the municipality, the county collects 2.125% of that tax. So the town of Taos is 9.175%. That county, the county receives that tax from all of our constituents within the town. So the town of Taos is 2.175. The only extra thing that the municipalities get are the 1.225 back from the state. So the state gets 3.65% of that 9%. So it's not, that's why I'm saying the town municipality is the taxing revenue generator. The county has the biggest taxing authority because they've got county hospital tax, healthcare tax, county emergency tax that we all pay for. But we, the town, are just the collectors, send it to the state, and they distribute it out. And the last thing is the two biggest tax ones are El Prado and El Valle, because they have taxing authority too. So their tax rate is 9.675. So we're all getting taxed out of everything, and it's hard because people want to increase their budgets, sheriff needs more people, fire needs more people, but how do we make some of these taxes together jointly work for the whole community, the whole county, not just one piece? And so it is a complicated tax structure, but that's how it works. That's how it's governed.
Can you tell us the amount?
Hang on, well, in the interest of time, we're running out of time.
We're good on time.
We're good on time? Okay, I thought you were done by 6:30. Okay, all right, go ahead.
So I just want to know the figure, not the percentages that you were talking about, but what's the actual amount that was in the town of Taos budget when you were still there in 2025?
For the budget or for the tax?
The whole budget or what?
The whole budget, I'm not gonna, if I could just get on my phone and look at their budget really quick, I'm gonna say the whole budget was expenditure side of $98 million.
For 5,500 people.
For 5,500 people, but we have enterprise funds. The town has water and sewer, the county does not. There's a lot of differences between that. The town has a lot of capital projects, so does the county. So it's like if you want to dissect budgets, which I'm gonna do because that's what I started trying to look at and understanding the county's budget and where everybody lies in that, because they are different, but they're similar in the operations.
They are different, and so much of the county's budget is allocated to very specific things, like you mentioned, the insurance department. So they don't have as much expendable funds for other projects as the town does, I think, is what I understood. Maybe I'm wrong about that, Marietta. You were the finance.
Yeah, no, you're semi right and wrong. It just depending. We all have capital. We use our excess revenue probably for capital projects. I'm sure that's probably what the county does. The biggest expense at the county is the detention center, another big expense. But the big expense at the town is the wastewater treatment plant, because the county doesn't have a wastewater treatment plant. We have the water sewer on the town this side. The county has, I don't know, water and sewer. They don't have water and sewer. So it's, we run different things. But the main things that we do together, that we can do better together, is recreation. The town has all the recreation facilities. The county doesn't really contribute. Maybe they don't need to, but we have 30,000 people in the county, and how many of them come to our Easter egg, the Easter egg extravaganza? You know, so it's like the county people come in to shop and they pay. So, you know, it's a more together.
We don't get to vote in the town, that's a problem. You know, full disclosure, I don't live in District 1, I live in District 4. And District 4, 3 houses on my road have burned down. And that's because the nearest fire station is 18 and a half miles away. And it's about a 45-minute response time. That's very disturbing.
No, that is, but in the bigger, broader communication of, okay, whose service is that? Who should really respond to that, and how can we make it better for those outlying departments? Is it the volunteers that don't have, you know, the manpower to do it? Or is it Taos Fire that could get up there to do it? Or is it a combination? I'm not gonna give.
Okay, excuse me, I appreciate the explainers, but, we would like to, limit our questions to very specific policy, achievements or, what they're gonna do moving forward. So we have another question right here.
It's very quick. Okay, county commissioner is supposed to maintain the roads and, the facilities, the bridges and facilities. So where does that start? You know, when we talk about maintaining roads, I'm talking about potholes, you know, not being able to drive down the street without having your car just like fall almost into a big hole. So I think that affects all of us. And maybe it's way down on priority. I can understand where you guys are coming from and the great questions that have been asked. But who's in charge of filling our potholes?
Yeah, roads, that's a major responsibility for the county, and many miles of road to maintain, to improve and pave, and that's happening, but it's a never-ending thing. We have to continue to secure funding and ensure that we do that. I was speaking to the Public Works Director this morning. There was a cleanup around the courthouse, and she was there. And I was asking her, how do we get more funding into the Public Works Department so we can better maintain our roads, replace our bridges, repave the roads, fill the potholes and so on. But it's a continuing issue. We have to establish a regular schedule of maintenance where roads are redone, repaved, improved on a regular schedule basis.
Can you prioritize?
Yeah, that's part of the issue is roads, the most traveled roads are going to be prioritized. The least traveled roads are going to be on the lower end, but yeah, there is a need for prioritization.
So there was a prioritization, excuse me, a Blueberry Hill.
Yeah.
Prioritized.
Yeah, because that was very well traveled. And there are other roads around the county that are in the same category.
Yeah.
Well, I'll look into it. No, but the county did pass your road inventory or your priority list already?
It's a road inventory.
A road inventory, so maybe look at that on their website. Well, no, probably is on their agenda stuff. So maybe on that side. That's all I can look with. That's probably another big issue around the whole county, and what gets prioritized. So that's already, I think, in place, but doesn't say you can't go back and complain and listen and readjust.
Thank you. We have a question right here.
So my name is Gabriel Romero. I'm president of Taos Professional Firefighters. Just to clear up some of the discussion that we had here tonight, according to the 2020 census, the total population for Taos County is just above 36,000 people. Of that 36,000 people, Taos Fire, Town of Taos Fire, not Taos County, Taos Fire protects 61% of that total population. 60% of the total households in Taos County are in the Taos Fire District. 73% of total businesses are in the Taos Fire District. 192 square miles of the 12 square miles of city limits, and then 180 square miles of Taos County. More specifically, because we're here for District 1, District 1 is the only commissioner district that lies 100% in the Taos Fire's 192 square mile district. Commissioners voted unanimously to reduce fire funding from 25% to 10.5%, which effectively affected personnel staffing, hiring, essentially diluting service capacity. How do you plan to ensure your district is protected from fire, and how do you ensure that your fire protection agency ISO rating stays the same or improves and does not result in higher insurance costs for your constituents?
Yeah, thank you, Gabriel, for that question. You're absolutely right that the population is concentrated around the town of Taos. However, as you probably heard on the data report that we had, the majority of the calls are from outside of municipalities. And yeah, I know you indicated that maybe that information is wrong, but if you have evidence to show that it's wrong, you need to present it, because right now we're dealing with that. And the vote that was taken was never intended to be against any one fire department, because we strongly support fire protection around the county, and particularly in District 1, where the Taos Fire Department is. And so no real harm. I mean, I know that the budget was decreased, but nobody lost their job, nobody lost a paycheck. As far as I know, there was never any instances where we didn't have fire protection through the entire county. So I understand your question, but you have to understand too that the data shows data is what the data is.
Just to clarify that, sir, the numbers that you're being given by dispatch director are fire and EMS. So my EMS and fire calls. He's not giving you fire calls, he's not giving you EMS calls, he's combining them both. So as Taos County running the EMS, of course those numbers are going to show effectively higher.
Yeah, no, I really, from your perspective, where you know you're very concerned, we're very concerned, but we have to look at the bigger picture of making sure that the fire departments around the county are fully funded. And I will be an advocate to get that funding back up to where it was, you know, but it may take some time, because we have to look at the budget and see what revenue is coming in and make adjustments accordingly. That's what government has to do in order to not go into the red, or you can't have an account that continues to run into the deficit. We have to address that issue. So thank you.
Sorry. I will definitely fight for what is fair and right for the constituents and the community, Taos County wide. And until I am in there to really look at the data and understand how the reporting is, I'm not going to make a judgment, but I know the process, and I really, I voted yes for this fire tax, but now that I've seen it go through the process and the money taken away, I mean, that was $800,000. They took out it was 25% to the town and the other municipalities. They took it, and now they're only getting 10%. And they have the fire apparatus, they have the fire department buildings, they have everything there. Taos County, I don't know the plan. I guess the strategic plan is their plan, Commissioner Romero. So if we pass this tax there, the tax passed because it seemed like the fire plan was going to be that we're going to shore up and make fire better, make EMS better. And that, to me, there was 9,000 people that voted for this tax, 3,200 voted against it. If I didn't know what I know now, I'm sorry, I wouldn't have voted for that tax, because there was never a solid plan. And I think we come back to the table. I guess as long as if you repealed a tax to give out, can we repeal a tax that was implemented that we don't know what it's all going to and what it's bettering our community? So I will ask the questions, and I will be honest when I find the solutions or the answers that I get, and be open and transparent about it. I mean, that's what the leadership of the commissioners should have already been doing. You've been sitting on the commission for 3.5 years, and, you know, this has been a discussion not for only the last 6 months. And so the hard things that are coming out have to deal with a lot of money. And when we talk money and things, it's a hard discussion. The good things that the county are doing, the Main Street, the Cultural Treasures Project, all of these lodgers tax, the destination stewardship plan, those are all good, healthy things for the community. But when we talk about the big things, nobody wants to talk about them. So that's all I have to say about it. Oh, no, I answered your question.
Thank you both. We have a question all the way here in the back.
Hi, Alexi Lathrop here. Commissioner Romero, you mentioned earlier that the county is inundated with IPRA requests, and in my opinion, that indicates a lack of transparency. Can either of you speak to your concrete plan on how you're going to increase transparency?
Well, as I mentioned, all government entities are overwhelmed with requests for IPRA. It's not specific to the county, but the county hired an individual specifically to address. We can't control people requesting public information. That's what we do. That's part of being transparent. Anybody that wants to see the Taos County budget, all they have to do is go to the website and bring it up. You can see all the numbers and all the information. So no, I mean, county's been absolutely transparent about that, but we're not going to be able to stop people from requesting public information.
Can you tell me where I can find the budget, because I couldn't find it?
Yeah, you can find it if you go to the agenda of this Tuesday's meeting. Under the PDF, you can find the third quarter report and then the entire budget right there on the Taos County website.
So I tried to find the actual budget, and these two, because I just went and found that, but for some layperson to just go look at it, just should be right under the finance tab on your website. I think that's transparency, is putting the documents that we don't have to pay $60 for, and just put that. The quarterly report is great, I was looking at it, but transparency is, you know, maybe put the audit. I went to the meeting where the audit was presented, and not a single question from the commissioners. And I think that's the thing that is open and transparency, is ask the questions. I know that you have your staff. I mean, I was a staff. I got drilled as a finance director. I was in tears at times because the council asked the questions. So ask those hard questions of your staff, because you entrust that staff to do everything you want them to do, but you're the leader, you're responsible for the end result. And if you don't ask and something comes up, if something comes up in an investigation and somebody asked you about it and it didn't happen, and now it happened and you didn't respond to it, then you're responsible as a commission. So I see another thing of open and transparency on the agendas. You know, they have great document, but there's never a dollar amount, there's never a financial, where's this money coming from? I think that's very important. I sat in a commission meeting, $1.2 million for, I think something for dispatch, great, what was it? I think a new software system, replacing Spillman. Why not put the dollar amount for the community that we know what we're paying for? That's open and transparent. Public requests. I see that sometimes it happens when you're either running for office or if there's a contentious issue, and there obviously is one. So there's obviously a lot of public records requests, and I think that's part of it. And yes, it's always going to be government, but if you're more open and transparent, you might not have all of that. But then you have these third-party people that just want to find everything so they can try to sell you something. So I understand that that's a big issue, but trying to be more open on the things that are important to the public and make it easier for them to see, because we are not all very technology literate or whatever it is. So make it easier for the ones that, like myself, find it easier to find stuff.
Thank you, and a little quick follow-up on that.
Yes, I've seen publishing of the state report, but I haven't seen really anything from the county of where exactly those significant findings were within any specific department.
So, I did my own research, and that's how open government should be. It should be easy to find. Just even put a link at the state auditor's website. You can go to the state auditor's website and find it. I would thought that the audit would be part of the agenda packet. It wasn't. So a couple of findings, and I did speak at the public forum or the public comment. And findings they're there. If they're there, you improve them, you fix them. It's not a bad thing, but be open about it and talk about it. And I went through a few, and the first one that was there was a grant that the fire mark, somebody got a loan for $400,000 and nobody knew about it. So there was no structure to say finance approves it. I don't know if there was or not. Maybe Commissioner can answer to that. Like, how does somebody, a department head go apply for a loan to buy something and no finance overview, no management overview, no commission overview? Those are things that I'd like to look into, see how the structure is run. That was just the first finding, and that's the only one I remembered.
Yeah, well, we just got the audit report, not this meeting on Tuesday, but the first meeting of the month. It was an absolute unmodified report, audit report. It was as clean report as you can get. So there was no finding from the auditor that we had to be concerned with. We were happy to hear a clean, unmodified audit, and hope we continue to do that. The county did have a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, where we didn't actually have a finance director, but we do have a finance director, and she's been in place now for a couple of years. She has a degree in finance and accounting. She didn't have a whole lot of government experience when she came on, but now she's been on for about 2 years, and so she's doing a good job at this point. And so we're in good shape as far as our accounting and our audits.
Thank you. One more question back here, and then we're going to have final thoughts. Do you have a question? Okay.
Yeah, I'm curious about, I think the issues, a lot of these issues of transparency could be solved with more public outreach events to people who don't really know the process, how to go online to find information. Like, I think that could be solved. Like, maybe the county needs more public outreach, more marketing events, and also I'm curious to hear your thoughts about how to promote homegrown businesses so we don't have to rely on tourism so much.
I guess I'll take that. So public outreach and homegrown businesses. There's just way to do a small community thing, even at this round table. Come and, bring some county officials, say, this is what you can find, or this is how it looks. And I think it's just being, not that everybody has time to do it. I mean, I'm sure you all have jobs, or you have children, or you have other commitments, but to make it easier, just give a 101 class to say you can send in your name and you can get notified for agendas. I think that happened at the county. I don't know if they push that out. Make your bigger documents available, the budget, the audit, whatever you think, the road inventory, whatever it may be. I think there's ways to improve it to have public access to these information, or use AI. I guess I've been trying that lately, and it takes you to some interesting things. So, and on the home businesses, I think there's a lot of collaboration that the county and the town do together, which is like in the planning area, the planning and zoning area. I think I hear a lot of complaints about that, and I know contractors are fed up because it's taking slow. So I know the county's working on that, and they're trying to get it, beefed up or whatever, if it's employees, whatever it may be, and make it consistent and easier for the businesses in the whole county and the town, like combine those try to work on both of those land use development codes, so you don't have something off side of this fence and something off on this fence. I think that would help even the smaller businesses too, and have some of those conversations with the planning and zoning people, because I hear a lot on countywide, town, whatever, they go in and they give them the packet and they don't help them through, like guide it through. And the brick may be helping with that, the business incubator stuff, where hopefully the town and the county can both have a seat in that building and they can work together. There's so much we could do together better that we need to focus on to, and that's one of my biggest things.
Yeah, well, the county has collaborated with other entities to get the BRIC, the Business Innovation Resource Center up and running. That will help businesses. On county planning, yeah, there's always issues. Make sure to expedite the process for contractors and homeowners in building and going through that zoning process. And yeah, there's been discussions, talk about the town and county working together on the planning side. It just hasn't happened. They remain separate on that. The town deals with the planning and zoning within the municipality, and the county deals with planning and zoning outside the municipalities. And that's what the new land use regulations that are top priority now to review and to complete those. It's called the Unified Development Code. And so that's a process that we'll be going through this year, one of the high priorities for the county this year.
Thank you very much.
Okay, sorry, I have a couple questions. First of all, I want to make a statement. The roundtable has been on, or we were on, Pasquale when he was mayor, about getting fire hydrants fixed. He said that 90% were working. What about the other 10%? They finally removed the one by the bank building that was bent over for years, but we'd like to see that get done and the bags taken off, and if they're not working, take them out. So we hope that you guys support us on that. It looks awful, it makes our town trashy, and plus if we have a fire, we probably know that our fire hydrants are working. Okay, so, Bob, I have a question for you. So the first the first involvement I had getting back to Taos after the tree was the county courthouse. And we got together in the county courthouse and we're talking about why there had to be $7.5 million spent in the county courthouse. Now, because all the guys that work at the county courthouse that are doing the work eat with us all the time, we know now that it's past $13.5 million. And it's not quite that much, but it's getting there to finish it.
It's about 11, almost 12.
Okay, but to finish it, it's gonna be around 13.5.
Probably 12.
Okay, how can the county make that okay, spending that kind of money on one building, when the community was trying to fight it when it was 7.5?
Yeah, good question. I've asked that myself. But we are a tourism-based economy, and this will be a gem for the tourism industry with the murals up in the courthouse and whatnot. Locals are gonna be coming back just to revisit and get reacquainted with the plaza and courthouse area. But you're right, it's a matter of priority, and that's where the funding came in. We got some federal funding in the house, but we also got a lot of capital outlay. The state is flush with money. It's oil and gas money, but it was capital outlay money. That's where our legislators put it. The county did make it a priority because otherwise it wouldn't be restored and preserved. It's a 30-year project. I sat on a task force in the year 2000 to make recommendations on how to make new reservations and preserve this building. And the recommendations that we made exactly what's happening. ADA compliance, public restrooms, preserve the entire building, roof, new electrical, plumbing, and all that. And so now we're just not there. So yeah, we can kind of say, wow, that's a lot of money to put in one building, but it'll be a great structure.
I also heard though that they didn't get paid for like 8 months, so they weren't working for 8 months.
Yeah, no, there were delays. There was construction, like you say, it takes time, especially on a historical structure. I asked the contractor, does it take 3 years to complete renovation on historical structure everywhere around the state. He wouldn't answer the question, but I thought it's a long time.
But from what I heard, it is because the county didn't have the money to pay them, so they couldn't keep working because.
Yeah, it's a question how the different sources of revenue come in at the time that they come in. And the county staff and management have to deal with that. And as commissioners, we can follow up and ask questions, but we can't always totally control them.
Okay, thank you. One more question. So this picture that I have here is a little shack, it's in Ranchos. There's, there I see, well, I went by there today to take a picture. I just want to show the commissioner and Marietta the picture. It has a couple propane tanks outside, a bunch of trash. I'd like to know, the roundtable went to a county commission meeting a couple of years ago because we were advocating for 3 women that got kicked off their property. One woman that was in her 70s that had a farm. There was a woman with a child that lived there, and another one was a single woman that lived on county property. And they all got kicked off their property. The one woman with the child had to go back to her abusive husband because she had nowhere else to go. So we see places like this. It's basically a shack that was built in a high populated area. How do you decide who to go? Like, does somebody have to turn them in? I'm not going to turn them in, but does somebody have to turn them in before you do something about a volatile, possibly fire that could happen? And what's the difference between that and then somebody that lives way far out? That if there was a fire, I mean, obviously any fire is bad, but what's the difference and how do you guys determine that?
Yeah, no, it's a real problem. The homeless situation, they're people, human beings, and they don't have shelter, and in the cold especially, we have to be concerned about their safety. But I know both the town and the county are dealing with it. We have camps. I was talking to the code enforcement officer at the town at the cleanup that the governor sponsored at Echo Park on Friday. And he says that's what he's dealing with, just moving around to the different areas that he tries to complete enforcement. So the county is in the same situation, trying to enforce it, but also just understanding that we're dealing with humanity. Some of the people just are in bad situations, and so we do have to be civil and human about it. So I don't know.
But my question actually is, you do have to be civil about it and concerned about the people that are losing their homes, but people are getting kicked out of their homes that actually have like homes to live in or an RV to live in. And they're getting kicked out and displaced, and that's what's worrisome. So would you fight for people that are trying to build, that are on their own land, that make a mobile home? I mean, what can we do to make it easier for people? What can we do to help the community stay in their land, stay in their homes?
Yeah, that's part of the land use regs also, to make them more user friendly and where people can actually build their own. And so it's not so difficult and to comply with code, and I think that's what we'll be looking at.
So you'll look into that, making that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the unified, and Commissioner, is that online? Because I saw somewhere that the unified land use code for the county is online somewhere.
Yeah, it was.
So it's in
announced to the public.
Yeah, it was in draft, so that's where the constituents need to go look and see, you know, if some of these things are covered under there, and go to the public hearings and be involved on those processes that develop that plan. And so I don't agree, you know, it's like the building codes here, you have to go through. Thank God I haven't had to build, but I hear about it. And so, you know, be involved on those documents, because that's what controls it all, both on the county and the town side. But I think the county's in the draft form of that, and so maybe look into that and see hopefully those things, because you go to public hearing and if there's enough people that are interested in something to do better, there's numbers, and, the commission will have to listen to it.
So would you push to help people stay on their properties longer or work with them?
Definitely, I think the example is like, the, Joe Mascarenes' property. I helped one day. It's like, yeah, the human things happen, but I think with the outpour of the community that stalled for a while and they're doing it. So there's ways to do it. And I would definitely look at how is it, legal to do it and help out. But I think the document is, the policy document for the unified building code, whatever it's called, is the first step, because that's what's gonna drive what happens in the county on the building process.
Thank you.
Thank you both for your answers. I want to thank everybody for showing up to tonight's commissioner debate. We want to thank Casa Benavides for the space, Ruth Ann and Brad for putting this together. And before I ask the last question and also give you the chance to give your closing statements, Commissioner Romero, I let Ms. Fambro explain in the beginning the general area of District 1. Can you let us know when is election day and where, if you know where they're at?
Yeah, of course, early voting starts on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, and continues through election day on June 2nd. The election sites haven't changed too much. I know that in Los Cordobas, Llano Quemado area where I live, Llano Quemado West, we used to vote at Los Cordobas, but now we'll be voting at Llano Quemado Community Center. And then, of course, downtown will be at the I guess it'll be the center, or is it
Civic Plaza.
the Civic Plaza area? Yeah, and so that's basic information on the election. Do you want me to explain the district again? Or the boundaries?
No.
Okay.
I think we got it, but yeah, thanks for that information. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that election day is June 2nd. And early voting will begin on May 5th. All right, so we've heard a lot about EMS and fire funding, and so I'd like for you to consider, as part of your closing statements, maybe something that's specific that you'll implement in your first 90 days if you get it. Mrs. Fambro, and maybe this next commissioner cycle, if you consider maybe some specific policies around EMS and fire that can kind of be sprinkled into your closing statements, that would be great. And if we can start with the challenger here first.
Thank you all for being here. I didn't even thank you at the beginning. I was just like, jump into it. But thank you all again for being here for the first 90 days. Depending on what happens throughout, my first thing was to make sure I understand the county's position, the county's strategic plan with that fire EMS, find out the specifics, find out what the money has already been used for, and then sit down with the leadership of both there's gotta be communication between there hasn't been a joint meeting with the town and the county for a year and a half. We used to have them, and that needs to happen, but I know the staff, people say you don't want to air your dirty laundry. This is not dirty laundry. This is reality. This is people's money. This is fire. This is public safety. And so it's probably going to take that long just to figure out what is going on. And so I want to hear the real story, see where the money's been spent, see the plan, if the county has a strategic plan, or we're just buying vehicles, and I know we're not buying fire vehicles. So what is happening with that money? And I feel that I need to know to make an educated decision. Do we go back to the table with the two leaderships and say, we need a joint powers agreement? But that's not working because we have one and now they want to get out of it. But something has to be in set either by an ordinance, not a resolution, where somebody can just pull the money back from them. We need an ordinance or we need a joint powers agreement or a memorandum, something, whatever that legal document could be to say this will never happen again. Next year, they're not gonna pull the 10 and give back one. We need something specific. So that, to me, in the first 90 days is gonna probably be my main focus on this election. Was there another question?
No,
That's it.
I think you handled it good, yeah, thank you.
I want to thank the roundtable for providing this opportunity to discuss issues around county government. I'm running for re-election to Taos County Commission because I want to maintain vitality and stability. We've gotten a lot of things done during these years. We now have a commission that's working together to get things done, and we need to keep the good working team working together for the betterment of the community and the entire county. And we just need to continue to move forward. I feel that my broad experience and extensive experience in local government will be an asset for the next 4 years for the Taos County. My priorities will be to ensure that we develop housing infrastructure, that we maintain roads, replace bridges, that we review and complete the land use regulations, also known as the Unified Development Code, and that we, to ensure that we build the medical clinic at the Holy Cross Medical Center. And on the fire and EMS side, I will go back and ask questions about the data, about the dispatch. I will also ask questions about the EMS and exactly what is happening with the EMS response, and see if there's more information there that I don't have at this point. But again, thank you for being here. Thank you for being active. Thank you for getting informed and for voting because that's important. At a time when our democracy is threatened at the national level, we have to ensure that government works at the local level. We have to protect freedom of the press, freedom of speech, the right of the people to peacefully assemble, the right of the people to petition their government for a redress of grievances. That's the First Amendment to the Constitution. And we can throw in the Fourth Amendment, which is protection against searches and seizures without a warrant, which has been happening with ICE around the country. So we have to just protect democracy at all levels. And so I respectfully ask for your vote again on starting May 5th up to the election day, June 2nd. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Yes, you have a wonderful time. Thank you very much for coming before this body and sharing your vision.
I didn't finish because I just answered the question, but thank you all.
I just want to say one more thing. Thank you, Romero. Thank you, Marietta. Thank you, Arsenio, for moderating. Great job. I want to introduce Alexi Lepro, and Alexi's running for county assessor. And also we have Steve Nieta here. Sheriff Nieta is running for re-election for county sheriff. Is there anybody? There's nobody else here, right? That's running. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Streamed it. Are you gonna leave it up? Yeah, we'll leave it up. Yeah, we'll leave it up.
I just you get my mic here. I don't know who you are. I'm Dylan Crabb. I'm an independent journalist.
Dylan, what was your name? What's your last name? Dylan Crabb. Crabb? Yeah. Arsenio Trujillo. I'm with Taos Main Street.
Main Street. Okay.
Yes.
What
Yeah.
exactly is Taos Main Street? Is it a nonprofit?
Taos, it's a nonprofit, yes.
Dedicated
And we were the ones that secured the funding for the construction of the renovation of the plaza.
And were you asked to moderate this debate? I'm curious.
Yeah, so
Do you know
we partner with Legacy Cafe with Ruth Ann. Anything she does, we like to help out, and vice versa. She's been a great partner for us as well. So
that's good.
So I'm happy to do this kind of stuff. Plus, I learned a bunch of stuff.
That's good.
Yeah. So
does Taos Main Street need any freelance photographers to hire?
I do a lot of the photography myself, but possibly. We're kind of like the go-between between the county and the city. The tribes, the tribes have some property on the plaza. And the merchants are, they have a voice too. And really, my job is to try to get more locals to come back to the plaza. So we're pretty excited about the construction. I know it's a little inconvenient right now, but we really are looking forward to that day when we cut the ribbon on the new product. So. But we're.
Did I hear that right? That construction should be finished by this summer.
I have a construction meeting just about every second Thursday, and I would have to say that they're cooking, man. They're doing
open to the public.
I'm sorry.
Are those open to the public?
They're online. So go to the Main Street website.
Taos Main Street. Okay.
Taos Main Street. Just Google it, and you can see all the reports and the narratives that we put out for things specifically like that. So. Yeah.
So do you have a personal opinion on the candidates, or want to stay neutral?
No, neither one of them is in my district. I'm not. Yeah, but I'm friends with just about everybody in this room. So I'm Mr. Neutral.
Yeah, of course.
But thanks for asking.
Hello.
How are you doing? It's very nice to see you.
Do you have any? Hi, I'm Dylan. I've seen you around. Do you have any last minute thoughts?
Any what?
Any last minute thoughts?
Well, last minute thoughts is I don't even consider it a debate. I consider it more of a forum for people to get out and get better informed, and I think that happened. We had a lot of issues, a lot of discussions, and as I said, I think the county has a lot of accomplishments. It's a good record to run on, so I was happy with that.
And how long have you been commissioner?
Just 3.5 years, not even 3.5 years. I started in January 73. Okay, 2023. So I'm just in the last year of my first term, and ready for re-election to get a second term.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, great. Who are you with?
I'm independent.
Oh, independent. Great. All right.
Alexi?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm Dylan. I'm an independent journalist. I'm just wondering why I sent you a message about getting an interview, like a more personalized interview.
Oh, okay.
I sent it to you today, so you probably haven't seen it.
I'm probably haven't seen it yet. I went straight from work right to here.
Right. Do you have any final thoughts on the candidates here? If it's okay, I put you on the spot.
I don't know that I have any final thoughts on it. I still would like to see a little more concrete plans on the transparency, as you saw in my question.
So you got here straight from work too.
Yeah. I came over. Lexi's my wife, so
Yeah, nice.
I came over and support her.
All right.
That's probably gonna be on
The moderator said this was the only contested race of the Taos County Commissioners.
All right, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'll let you know.
Leanne, I just realized I've recorded multiple events of yours here, but I've never given you a chance to promote this group. So why don't you promote this group?
For the Taos Roundtable, we have our meetings Wednesday nights at Casa Benavides Inn. Almost every night. You can join us at Taos Roundtable on the Facebook page. And if you have a question that you want to ask the community, if there's anything that you're concerned about, you can bring it to us. If there's anything that you want to promote that would help the community, anything that's community-based, we will help you get the word out. If you have concerns, we'll address those also. So Wednesday nights, 5 p.m., Casa Benavides Inn, come on down. Get involved in the community is really important. And this has become this is not only a community now, we've all become friends. And it's a really good outlet just to meet people and to get involved and help make our town a better place to live.
All right, sounds good. You need any freelance photographers?
You
need any freelance photographers?
I might. Yeah. Give me your card.
I don't have a card, unfortunately. I will send Taos Roundtable message. All right. No problem.